YouTube, how's it going? So by now I'm sure you've seen some of the unboxings of some of the hardware that I have chosen to go with for my new PC build. So in this video we're kind of going to go over, because I didn't show you all the parts. Like I showed you like the video cards, some of those parts, but really there's nothing to unbox with the CPU, there's nothing there. So I figured some of it, didn't need to be unboxed. So in this video, we're kind of going to going over the hardware that I've chosen, some of the specs, and what I paid for it. Now keep in mind, I live in Canada, so everything's in Canadian dollars. So things, compared to the, the price of what I could have got it for in the States, it is a bit more. But then by the time I pay the duty and the currency conversion on my credit card and everything like that, realistically, it's actually costing me more at that point to try and get it from the States than just to get it from some, like a supplier in Canada, I guess you can say. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to go ahead and start taking a look at some of the components that I have chosen to go with. I'm not going to explain why I went with them, because it's just like, there's really no need, just because this system's going to be for gaming as well as content creation. There will be a PC parts picker list to this full build in the description box below, as well as, if I remember, I'll put like a little card or whatever up in one of these corners if I remember. Now some of the stuff I already have, like you'll see the mouse, keyboard, speaker, headset, stuff like that I'm using as well. That I'm reusing from my current system. Same with the monitor. Is all stuff that I am going to be reusing. Keep in mind that monitor, I at some point would like to upgrade that to a G-Sync compatible 144Hz, 1440p panel, maybe even 4K, maybe. But let's go ahead, let's get on with it. Let's take a look at some of the hardware that I have chosen to go with. So, taking a look at the first component here that we're going to take a look at is my Corsair HX1000i. Definitely way overkill for this system. I could have probably got away with, something like a nice 750 watt rated power supply. Now, I got this from a local shop in my area for a steal of deal. I was looking at it on Newegg's website, where I ordered basically everything for my system. Newegg at the time was asking $249.99, so $250 Canadian for this power supply. I picked it up from a local shop on sale for $125 and some change. So yes, it's overkill, but realistically the price was just too good to pass up. Because even in the future, I can expand the system. I do a whole nother build, I can pull this out, move it to that new system. Now, one thing I did order with this is I'm not going to be using the stock cables. We are actually going to be going with a set of cable mod cables. Now, I did opt for white because the majority of the system is going to be black, so I can add some contrast to that with these nice white cables, and playing around with the RGB lights once I have those installed in the system. Now, I did order just a basic set of just cable combs, just to keep the cables nice and clean looking, rather than just all over the place. They are individually sleeved, so that's where the cable combs would come in handy for that. Let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the next piece of hardware that I've gone with here. We'll go ahead and we'll take a look at my storage solutions I'm going to be running in. Okay, so in this part of the video here, guys, we're going to be taking a look at what I've gone with for my storage solution. It is a dual drive solution, essentially. So first, we're starting off with a Samsung 970 Pro NVMe M.2 drive. It is 512 gigs. This is going to be my boot drive and store my main applications. I was between this one and the... What's that other one? It's a Crucial, I believe. I believe it was the Crucial MP 510 900 and some gig. But when I placed my order, unfortunately, they were all sold out. Ideally, I would have probably went with that one just for the sheer fact that, yes, at the end of the day, this Samsung drive is faster, but it's only got 512 gigs, as where the Crucial Force MP512 M.2 drive is, the one I was looking at was 960 gigs. The speed difference between the two drives was small, so small that realistically you wouldn't notice the difference. It was a couple dollars more, but the longevity or the durability of the drive was greater. So the Corsair MP510 drive will outlast, at least on paper, and from the specs that the manufacturers give, the Corsair drive will last longer than this. It's a little bit slower. When I say a little bit, it's not that much slower. It's not enough that you're going to notice it. And it was 960 gigs. As where this is 512. Don't get me wrong, this is still more than plenty just for a boot drive and to run core applications. Anything else, like my Steam, like all my games, any applications that I might use here or there, is actually going to be stored on this Western Digital 6TB black mechanical 3.5-inch drive, which is more than plenty for just mass, like a mass storage solution. Just because, you know, I mean, like 6 terabytes of of NVMe storage is still a bit pricey. Like if I had the money to do it, and if I had, you mean if money wasn't an issue with this build, you know it, I'd have a whole crap ton of NVMe storage or some sort of SSD storage. But in this case, you know, I mean, at least from the research I've done, the only real benefit SSDs are going to have to games is maybe for load times. But it's not going to help you get better frame rate or anything like that, so I'm not too concerned about it. I know the system I currently have only has a 2 terabyte mechanical Seagate drive. I'm more than happy with the playability of the games that I have. So, you mean that's at this point, that is my storage solution. So go ahead, we'll move on from this, and we'll take a look at what I plan on cooling the processor with here. So we'll go ahead, we'll move on to that. Okay, YouTube, so this is my cooling solution that I'm going with. My video card, once we get there, I mean, for now it's going to be staying on air. But I'm actually going with the Corsair H150i Pro RGB. I currently have the H100i V2 in my AMD build that I've been using for the past 8 years. Now, in the unboxing of this, I did mention that I was not going to be going with the stock thermal paste that came included. At the time of filming this video, this was still in shipping. I now have this. This is the Thermal Grizzly Cryonaut. This will be the thermal paste that I go with on the CPU, so I will be cleaning this, the included thermal paste off. I will be going with this, and we'll be using this instead. It's a better thermal paste based on the reviews that I've read, and we will be applying this during the build. This does include 3 120mm ML fans. They're the Corsair's new maglev fans. They're supposed to be really quiet, move a lot of air. At least that's what they say. So we'll go ahead. We'll find out when we actually get this out of the box. So that essentially is my cooling solution for the CPU. Obviously, I believe I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the video as well. I'm going to be taking my Noctua fans out of my current system, putting the stock case ones back in, and moving those not cool fans to my new build. What's nice about them is they're the Redux fans, or however the heck you pronounce it. So instead of being that ugly brown color that a lot of people complain about, they are a light gray and a dark gray color for them, so they're not as ugly as that, I don't know what color you want to call it, that ugly poop colored brown. I really don't. So that's my cooling solution for the CPU. I'm looking forward to working with this because I've never worked with something quite this size before. And what's nice along with this, as well as the HX 1000 power supplies, they're both Corsair Link compatible, so I'll be able to really monitor 100% of everything. So at this point, let's go ahead and take a look at the processor that this beast here is going to be cooling, as well as my RAM selection that I have gone with in this kit, at least for this particular build. The RAM itself, I'm toying with the idea of, should I just bump it up, max out what my motherboard is capable with, come time for me to win more funds available, because unfortunately GPU pricing and RAM pricing is absolutely retarded in price right now. So right now I've gone with a little bit less system memory than what I wanted, than what my system is capable of. So let's go ahead and take a look at that, and from there we'll have to wait and see what's after that. Okay, so let's take a look at what I've gone with for my processor and my memory. I'm going to take the processor, we'll set it off to the side for now. I'm going to make you wait a little bit longer. Don't mind my dog, he's different. He likes to bark at whatever. He's barking at another dog, but, whatever. So in this case, I've gone with some G.Skill Trident Z non-RGB, but it is a black with white RAM. This is a 32 gigabyte kit at 3200 megahertz with a 16 class CAS latency on it as well. I will be ordering a second one of these kits. It's a 2x16 gig kit, so I'm going to be ordering a second one of these, which will max out what my motherboard is capable of at 64 gigs of RAM later on down the road, because it is for sure nice to have, even especially when you do content creation and you're working within Adobe After Effects, because you start eating up that RAM really quick. That, and just to say you have an over-the-top, way overkill computer that is 100% not necessary. And now for what you've all been waiting for. I'm sure you're wondering, did I go with another AMD system and go with something like Ryzen or Threadripper? Or did I switch to Team Blue? 9th gen – 9th gen 9700K. Of course, I had to go with KSQ. I wanted the unlocked processor. I wanted to be able to overclock this. This is not my first Intel build. My first computer I ever owned was a AMD. It was a single core. It was like an AMD XP something or other. I don't remember. It was like AMD XP 2000 or something. Something like that. My build after that was AMD Intel Core 2 Duo system. And then I jumped to this machine, my FX build. I kind of alternate between the two. I'm not like AMD's better than Intel, Intel's better than AMD. You mean Intel's better, maybe better for this particularly, this application, but AMD might be better for this. I'm not going to disagree with that. But I'm not going to say Intel is superior to AMD. Maybe a couple of years ago, before Ryzen came out, I would say Intel was probably the way to go. just because to be honest, they did make a better product. The FX series products were a rock solid platform, so I'm not going to go against that. But it's 3.68 GHz, 1200 or 12 megs cache. It's an LGA 1151. Blah 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 blah. I'm kind of looking forward to building this system. I think it'll be quite the system, and I look forward to seeing, honestly, what this chip in itself is capable of achieving. I'm hoping I can hit 5 GHz no problem without any sort of thermal issues. I think with a 360mm liquid AIO cooler, I don't think I should have any problems hitting 5 GHz with decent temperatures, because right now it's just money that's stopping me from doing a custom loop. So let's actually move on and take a look at what I decided to go with for my video card. I'm sure anyone that's watching my couple previous uploads would have already seen this, but for anyone that maybe is just tuning into the channel and hasn't seen those videos, we're about to take a look at kind of what I went with. Well, this is the case I ended up going with. I've never built in a factory design case. Out of the couple cases I was looking at that I was interested in using, the Define R6 had some of the better reviews, and I really liked the overall look of it. It was sleek, and I also want to change. I've built in 2 NZXT cases. I had the Phantom, it was a Phantom 410 in white, and then I had the Switch 810 in black, and then I built in a Coolant Master. It was a cheaper, more of a budget case, so it didn't have a side window, it didn't have anything fancy. And then I built in the Cooler Master. What the hell was this one? Just a moment here, I can tell you exactly what this case is. It is the Cooler Master MC500P. Is what my AMD build is sitting in currently. So we're going to go ahead and we'll use this case. I've already had it out of the box, because there's really 2 types of configurations. You can have it in a open layout, where this piece here is pushed back, or you can have it there. I wanted to go with the open look, so I pushed it back, pulled out some of the drive cages, and from what I've read with previous Define R series cases, with this front door, it always opened from this side, went that way. With the R6, they have it so just move 2 screws, and you can adjust it so it opens. You can open from this side, just depending on where the case is sitting. I've gone ahead. I've moved that just because where it's going to sit on my desk, it makes it easy to get access to that dust filter to clean it. So I look forward to building this case. With this one, I'm not likely going to opt for or purchase the front panel I/O with the USB Type-C in it, just because the only thing I have that supports that is my Galaxy S8, but it uses a typical USB Type-A on the other end that I can use to connect to my computer if or when I need to connect my phone to my computer. So I'm not overly too concerned with that. I'm not going to be using included fans, and I will also link below my video of my unboxing overview of all the hardware that I have covered in this video. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about the motherboard that I have gone with for this build in the next clip or segment of this video. So that's the machine that I'm building. I mean, there's things that are going to be changed to it. Like right now, my main focus was getting something built that looked good. The cable mod cables, I ended up making a few sales of a few things I just didn't need anymore, so I was able to get those now. Obviously, I'd like to go throw some RGB in this system. I'm not going to overdo it. I'm not going to be going with something like a Hue Plus. I would be looking at something like along the lines of like a Corsair LL series fan or something like that. But that comes later down the road. I got perfectly good fans here that I'm going to be using. I'm probably going to reuse my Noctua fans because they are quiet. They move a lot of air. So I'm probably going to end up reusing those for now, until I can get my hands on something like a Corsair LL series fan and the appropriate hardware to get it all installed. Ideally, I'd like all the RGB to be ran through the Aura Sync that's on the ASUS motherboard that I've gone with. But if that's not the case, even with the LL series fans from Corsair, I do believe that uses their IQ software, but that's fine because that'll work just fine with my like mouse, keyboard, everything like that I already do have. So I hope you enjoyed the video, as well as don't forget to hit the subscribe button, as well as the notification bell to receive notifications when I upload.